So, Huawei continues on its mission to copy Apple as much as possible, though thankfully without the iPhone X's screen notch. So we get two flagships, not one. The 5.9-inch screened Mate 10 has traditional form factor QHD screen, expandable storage and headphone jack, all sounding good but limited Western availability. While the 6-inch screened Mate 10 Pro is the quirky next-gen design with 18:9 screen, no jack, no expandability, only 1080p resolution. Wait, this is the Pro model? It's all a bit of a mess, despite Huawei doing a decent enough job on the tech itself and its implementation. Both models have f/1.6 OIS equipped dual cameras, a colour and monochrome, with the party trick being computational hybrid zoom and in theory superb low light performance. Inside we're talking Kirin 960 chipsets, 4GB of RAM and 64 or 128GB of storage, 4000 mAh batteries, and the phones run EMUI 8.0 on top of Android 8, matching nicely. One extra is that Huawei has copied Microsoft's Continuum concept almost exactly, with wired and wireless desktop mode, allowing phone-controlled large-screen instances of all its core applications. And so to this year's Google Pixels, now with 2 in the name, still with the 2 sizes, regular and XL, with pumped-up internals and stereo speakers, but sadly missing a standard headphone jack. Google has put all its expertise in machine learning and image processing into these phones, making them a fascinating choice for the best in phone imaging, but arguably unremarkable otherwise. I said in the previous phone show that I wasn't going to spend my own money on these phones, overpriced and underfeatured across the board, but that doesn't mean I haven't had several hands-on sessions, done some testing and formed some opinions, and I couldn't help myself sharing them via the phone show. So, unusually, there are no Pixels to wave around on camera, but hopefully my thoughts, including a rant or two, are still of interest. Now, much of my playtime was with the regular 5-inch screen Pixel made by HTC. The 6-inch screen Pixel XL made by LG won't be available in the UK until November, so any review from PR sources will be delayed until then. The Google Pixel 2 is actually quite delightful in terms of size and feel in the hand. The two most controversial aspects are, firstly, the front bezels, which adhere to the old 16:9 design from the original Pixels. Nothing wrong with this, but on a 5-inch screen it does rather mean squinting sometimes. The usable screen real estate's down in the 4.6-inch region once you've factored in the virtual navigation controls. The bezels then automatically push buyers towards the XL model with 6-inch screen and 18:9 ratio and far smaller bezels. Now, the bezels on the smaller phone aren't offensive, but coupled with the premium price that Google is asking, starting at £629 in the UK, including VAT, help give the impression that there's a mismatch. This old design Pixel 2 should have been at least £100 cheaper, probably £200 cheaper, making it $429, leaving the XL with its next-gen design to prop up the premium end of the range. It's all rather pricey. The other controversial element is the finish. Google has specified a rubberized plastic coating over most of the sides and back, rather than leaving anodized metal to fend for itself. I'm going to defend Google here, though. It's true that the coating may well scratch or wear or discolour in time, but the extra grip in the hand also means that users might get away without needing to cloak the phone in a TPU case. Something which I've always found ironic after most people buy a premium metal phone. At least with the Pixel 2 range, users get to handle the phone they bought as is, and without too many worries. The Pixel 2 feels good. My apologetics here should be in the context of handling the black Pixel 2 with a dark coating that won't show dirt or stains. Cosmetics may well be more of an issue with the white and light blue variants. However, the biggest and most divisive issue across the Pixel 2 range is, of course, the removal of the 3.5mm headphone jack, especially galling now after Google publicly mocked Apple on its keynote stage for the removal of the jack on the iPhone 7 last year. Now, Google does quote improved ruggedness, water and dust resistance to IP67 as a result, but this is a feeble excuse. There are lots of ruggedized phones with headphone jacks, and the ruggedness itself is compromised by the antenna bands, as Zach Nelson's standard bend test showed. The jack's removal is more about wanting to push people to wireless audio, as Apple have been doing, and lo and behold, Google now has the new Pixel Buds to sell. Oh, what a surprise. The problem, of course, is that Google isn't Apple, and its traditional target market, tech enthusiasts like me and you, who appreciate the pared-down stock Android experience, is much too savvy to be swayed by marketing and sales tricks. Tech enthusiasts tend to fall into two main camps: those trying to live in the future, who love going all digital with USB Type-C headphones or standalone DACs or aptX HD compatible Bluetooth headphones, and those who appreciate that Android's biggest strength is the flexibility and adaptability, and they want maximum compatibility with all the other tech they own. And it's the latter group that's going to rebel here. We've got used to Google foregoing storage expansion. We've even got used to them stepping away from wireless charging. The last was the Nexus 6 in 2014. For the headphone jack to be removed too, it's a step too far for many people, including me. The smartphone is becoming less functional, not more. And this rankles in a world where Android manufacturers like Samsung, ZTE, and OnePlus, LG are throwing in every port, card and feature in their flagships. Compare the Galaxy Note 8, for example, with the similarly priced Pixel 2 XL, and the utter mismatch in specifications and features is very noticeable. But back to the smaller Pixel 2, the one I was hands-on most with. The jack's removal is alleviated slightly by the inclusion in the box of a cheap USB Type-C to 3.5mm adapter. Audio is output digitally. There's even a slight delay when plugging in the dongle, seemingly while the OS recognises the new computing accessory and loads up the right drivers. And a tiny DAC chip in the dongle then converts the digital audio to old-fashioned volts, ready for plugging in some traditional analog headphones. I was all ready to criticise the DAC's quality, but in my testing it seemed quite decent, driving my studio over-ear reference cans with no issues. So maybe the jack's removal has been overblown after all? Well, maybe. You still have to remember to bring the dongle with you, or more likely simply keep one dongle on the end of every pair of headphones you own. I did say they were cheap. There's also the matter of charging the Pixel 2 while listening, for example, while going to sleep at night, and that's unfortunate. My opinion is that jack removal was a misstep by Google, and it remains to be seen if sales bear this opinion out. There's certainly no shortage of Android-powered competition at all price points, the vast majority with a jack, so the market will decide. Google's use of HDC for this smaller Pixel 2 meant that a suitable 1080p panel had to be brought in, since HDC doesn't actually make components. So it turned to Samsung, maker of the best AMOLED displays in the world, and as a result, the Pixel 2 screen is excellent. The Pixel 2 XL is made by LG, by the way, and the jury's out on this. I was impressed enough by my brief play with the XL model, but I wasn't able to test it under all light conditions, plus the internet is rife at the moment with OLED burn-in stories for this. I'll do testing on this next month if it hasn't all been rectified and sorted out by then. Back to the 5-inch Pixel 2 though. 1080p is perfect for this phone and display size, even with AMOLED typically using the so-called pentile matrix, so you don't get full resolution for each sub-pixel. The star feature though of the Pixel 2 is its camera, adding the amazing multi-frame combination software HDR+ of the previous Nexus and Pixel devices to a newer sensor, larger aperture and OIS, optical image stabilization. With the multiple frames now far more in sync thanks to the OIS, the combination process is easier, faster and more reliable, resulting in less noise, greater dynamic range and better reliability in all light conditions. Extra secret sauce comes from the much vaunted machine learning that Google is so proud of. When you take a photo of a person or pet or landscape, the software recognizes the photo type and applies specific optimizations at capture and combination time. So it knows to expose faces more against a bright background, for example, and so on. And it can offer a rudimentary portrait mode, as in the recent iPhone Plus models, using both the small degree of parallax from its dual pixel sensor and its knowledge of where a subject's outline should finish. As it happens, the results can be stunningly good, right up with those from dual camera phones, which is a testament to Google's continuing photo rendering expertise. Yes, there are tiny blurring and fringing artifacts when you look at portrait edges, but you have to be, well, me to pixel peep to see the errors. Results from the Pixel 2 camera are almost uniformly excellent, though comparing photos at the pixel level, I do notice some artifacts which shouldn't be there. And I'm putting this down to early software, and it won't have escaped anyone's notice that Google's custom Pixel Visual Core chip has now been noticed in the teardowns, and the promise is to activate this with a firmware update by Google in the next few months. This should improve photos still further, in addition to enabling HDR+ photo capabilities via an API for third-party apps. This is certainly one phone and phone range I should be revisiting after a few months rather than doing a rash verdict. Headphone jack aside, and within the constraints of a 5-inch display, multimedia is excellent in the Pixel 2 with the stereo speakers, well, solid. There's still a hint of HTC's left top end and right bottom end imbalance, i.e. tweeter and bass, but for the most part you won't notice. It's stereo, it works well for general content and movies. The Snapdragon 835 and 4GB of RAM perform as you'd expect. The Pixel 2 is lightning quick at almost everything, helped by only having to drive a 1080p display. Boot time is particularly remarkable, now down to just over 10 seconds. The fingerprint sensor is quick, plus it now has support for the swipe down control of the notification shade, something which we first saw in the Huawei phones and interface. The big question though is who is going to buy the Pixel 2? It's a natural upgrade for the 2015 Nexus 5X, while 6P owners will head for the Pixel 2 XL, matching size for size. Anyone with last year's Pixel or Pixel XL is likely to want to stay put though, keeping the headphone jack and saving a lot of money in the process. While someone in the general market for a top Android phone is the likes of the LG V30, LG G6, Samsung Galaxy S8, S8 Plus, Note 8, OnePlus 5, or Huawei P10, I could go on. The usual suspects, quite literally 20 or 30 smartphones on sale at the moment from £400 up to £900, and all with specs that match or exceed the new Pixels. So you'd really have to want the 100% Google experience or own a Nexus 5X. And that's not enough to guarantee the sort of sales Google is after. Launched as part of an entire gadget ecosystem, the Pixels are supposed to be far more than just developer phones. And that's the issue. Almost everybody watching this wants a return to the Nexus days with super functional phones at prices that were one notch down from the top end. But Google wants to be the next Apple, it seems, with a whole range of technology and a best-selling superphone at the centre. And it's the last bit that will let the side down, I suspect.